AI can now write music that is just shockingly human. It's incredible. But that power opens up a huge can of worms. And the biggest question is this: how do you make sure the AI is actually being original and not just, mashing up songs it's already heard? How do we keep it legal? Well, today we're going to dig into a system designed to do exactly that.
And that really brings us to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? This is the core dilemma. See, AI models learn by digesting just enormous amounts of existing music. But copyright law, it depends on originality. So can a machine that literally learns from the past create something genuinely new? Or is it just doomed to be a super sophisticated copycat? That's the tension we're trying to solve here. So here's our game plan. First, we'll lay out the legal problem, the big hurdle. Then we'll walk through a really clever three-part solution, looking at each of these technical guardrails they've put in place. And finally, we'll see how it all comes together to make this whole thing work. All right, first things first, we have to really understand the problem we're trying to solve. There's a key legal concept out there that every single AI music generator has to grapple with if it wants to avoid some pretty massive lawsuits. And that legal concept is called substantial similarity. Now, the tricky part here is that this isn't some clear-cut formula. It's a subjective standard. A court, a jury, they just sort of decide. Remember the whole blurred lines case? The jury felt it copied the vibe of a Marvin Gaye song. That's a huge problem for an AI, because an AI needs concrete rules, not vibes. So the whole goal here is to take this fuzzy, subjective legal idea and translate it into objective black and white code. So how in the world do you do that? Well, the answer is to build a system of what they're calling creative guardrails. Think of them like bumpers on a bowling lane. They're technical rules that are hard-coded into the AI to steer it away from copying and nudge it toward creating something truly new. And this system is basically built on three pillars. You've got a super strict rule for the melody, a requirement for unique harmonies, and then a final check, an audit, to catch anything that might have slipped through. It's a full-stack approach, making sure originality is baked in from start to finish. Okay, let's get into the first and, honestly, the most important guardrail. This one is all about the melody. Why melody? Because if you look at the history of music copyright lawsuits, melody is almost always the star of the show. So this is your first and best line of defense. The absolute core of this defense comes down to one single number: 8. But why 8? What is so special about a sequence of 8 notes that it becomes the entire foundation for the system? Okay, so the 8-note rule is basically a hard stop. The AI is flat out forbidden from creating a sequence of 8 or more notes in a row, and this includes both the pitch and the rhythm that matches any song it knows about. It's a very conservative, very safe approach. The thinking is that anything less than 8 notes is usually too short to be a uniquely protected melody. So by drawing the line right there, the system makes sure the AI never even gets close to accidentally recreating a recognizable, legally protected musical phrase. So melody is covered. What about harmony? This gets a little more complex. You can't just copyright a common chord progression. But if an AI only uses those super common progressions, all its music is going to sound pretty generic and maybe even a little suspicious. So this next guardrail is all about pushing the AI to be more creative with its harmonies. For instance, take this progression, 1-5-6-4. I mean, come on, you have heard this in thousands of pop songs. It's a basic building block of Western music, and nobody can own it. But a song that only uses progressions like this could still get into hot water for having the same total concept and feel as another song. The solution? You force a little twist. The AI is programmed to intentionally drop in a less common chord, a non-diatonic one, like this flat 6 right here. All non-diatonic means is that it uses a note that's outside of the song's main key or scale. It's like adding a pinch of a weird spice. That little change immediately gives the song a more unique harmonic flavor and makes sure it's not just another clone. All right, so we've got proactive rules for melody and harmony. But what about a final quality check? A last line of defense? That's exactly what our third guardrail is. It's a mandatory audit that acts as the ultimate safety net, just to make sure nothing questionable makes it out the door. And get this safety net is even tighter than the rule used to create the song in the first place. Remember, the AI is blocked from making 8-note matches? Well, this final audit flags anything with just 6 matching notes. It's a much finer filter designed to catch even the smallest potential similarity that might have been missed.
So if a song gets flagged in this audit, it's immediately kicked back. It's a mandatory revision. And here's the crucial part. It then goes to a human musicologist for review. This human in the loop is absolutely essential. It provides that final, nuanced judgment call and guarantees that no song with potentially infringing stuff ever gets published.
So, when you put it all together, what you have is a brilliant example of operationalizing originality. It takes that vague, subjective legal idea of substantial similarity and successfully turns it into a concrete, measurable, and enforceable set of rules that a machine can actually understand and follow.
So let's recap the whole strategy. It's built on these three pillars. You have a proactive rule on melody to tackle the biggest legal risk. You have a mandatory harmonic twist to make sure the song is creatively distinct. And you have that final, even stricter audit as a safety net. Together, they create this really robust defense against copyright infringement. What we've looked at here is a practical, real-world blueprint for how to make AI music that's legally safe. But it does leave us with a much bigger, more philosophical question, right? All art has rules. A sonnet has to have 14 lines, a haiku needs a specific syllable structure. So by putting these guardrails on an AI, are we killing its creativity, or are we actually giving it the structure it needs to be creative? It's something to think about as this technology continues to evolve.